I am here at the Grandview trailhead, or according to Google Maps, just the Grandaddy Basin trailhead. Anyways, I'm here to meet up with Devin from Backcountry Exposure, and I believe his friend Jared Smith, his partner in crime. Did I say crime? I mean his partner in his startup, Kiva Outdoors. And so decided to join up with them for a night out. I think they came up yesterday and been circling Grandaddy Basin. I'm going to meet up with them at Fern Lake to camp out tonight, and then we'll hike out together tomorrow morning. And it's about 6:30 now, June 15th on a Friday, and took me a couple hours to get up here, leaving work, and now I'm just excited to get up the trail. Got about 5.5 miles to go to get to Fern Lake, and it'll be fun. I've never been up here before, this section of the Uintas. It'll be my first time into Grandaddy Basin and looking at the big Grandaddy Lake and everything. So here we go. Like that, we're into the wilderness area. Going over Hades Pass right now. Nice little turn. It looks like we are getting our first view of Grandaddy Lake out there. At least that's what I'm assuming that is. Circling around Grandaddy Lake down there, on my way around that side of it. So there's a Betsy Lake just down here. I'm taking the right fork here. It says Lodgepole Lake down here, but I'll also swing you around the backside of Grandaddy Lake. And on to Fern Lake, hopefully sooner than later. So I just stopped for a picture of a pretty little lake with probably no name. It's a small lake. Anyhow, right when I kneeled down to get a picture of some flowers at the shoreline of it, mosquitoes just attacked me like crazy. So yeah, I did come prepared, but as long as I keep moving, there's a nice little breeze here that's keeping them at bay. But yeah, once you stop, they plague you. So it'll be interesting to find out if that's the case at their campsite tonight. I'm sure they're pretty bad there too, because there's just water everywhere up here in the Uintas. Alright, so I just passing Lodgepole Lake here. It's pretty cool because you can actually see Bald Mountain out in the distance there. And come across a makeshift log bridge there, and so it should be the last lake I pass before I get to Fern Lake. I'm closing in. So I just passed by Lodgepole Lake. It's the second to last named lake that I'll be passing before I turn off for Fern Lake. I think I'll go past another one called Lamar Lake. Right about there I'll turn off for Fern Lake, which is about a quarter mile off trail or something like that. And anyhow, yeah, it was really pretty passing by Lodgepole Lake. Had to come over a innovative bridge there, a bunch of logs that didn't look too trusting, but slowly but surely they held up, and should be good fun coming back over it tomorrow. Anyhow, there's a tent and a tarp pitched like literally right on the edge of the trail and the lakes there, and I just don't understand it. I mean, I know people want to camp in pretty spots and have those views right of those lakes right from their tent, but there's been multiple signs along the trail here that say camp 200 feet away from water, all lakes, and 200 feet away from the trail. And when you're camped right on the edge of the trail and the lake, where you could literally spit on the tent from both places, that's a double whammy in my book. But all I can do is roll my eyes at it, because you know, it doesn't bother me. It's not like they're sitting on a spot that I want to camp at. I enjoy getting a little further off the trail where you're expected to, because it makes for a quieter camp. You don't have people hiking right through your camp or right by it, and all the noise that comes with that sometimes. You know, you get nosy dogs that come into your camp when you're right on the side of the trail from other hikers coming by. So if people want to do it, fine by me, I guess. I guess my only gripe with it would be that it kind of photobombs shot when you want to take a picture, and you rather it not have some other people camping right in your picture. But oh well, I mean, it still looks pretty. But this looks like the remnants of a really old cabin, maybe a miner cabin or a railroad worker cabin when they harvested lumber for railroads. I forget what they call them. So I was this close to bringing up the hammock and hanging tonight, but I'm looking at all the trees up in this area, and I'm starting to think that it was a good decision to forego the hammock and bring up the tarp tent, because the vast majority of these trees, at least all the ones that look like they'd be good for hanging from, when you look up, most of them are dead. It'd be really hard to find some live trees that are a good distance, that are the right distance from each other, and most of the live trees here are all young and newer and got very slender trunks to them, not very tall, and what few that are bigger and more mature, you know, again, are you know, anytime there's space, or there seems to be like a smaller tree or a dead tree that just gets in the way of being able to hang on the next nearest live suitable tree. So yeah. up here with a group, you might be pretty spread out if you have a number of people in your group and you're all hammock camping up here. Here's where the trail keeps going. It's seemingly becoming less of a trail. And that's okay, I'm gonna veer off anyways, where there is absolutely no trail, and go cross country for the next quarter mile or so, and hope between quarter mile, half mile, maybe closer to a third of a mile, and pick my way over to Fern Lake here. I was hoping to arrive about an hour ago, but traffic was traffic, and yeah, so had to stop and get gas, and just a little later leaving work than I wanted to, and a little later getting to work than I wanted to because I was busy trying to decide what exactly I wanted to pack for this trip. As short as it is, I wanted to make sure I was good and lightweight to hike fast, and here I am. So it's almost 9 o'clock, and yeah, looks like I'll have just enough daylight left to get tent set up, which is always nice. So I'm gonna stop talking and start paying attention to where I'm walking now. Well, look at this. I've picked up a little trail or path after all. There's no trail marked out on the map out to Fern Lake, but I guess enough people travel there. Anyways, so here we are with a nice little pathway that should be leading us out that way, at least it appears to be. Alright, I think we're here. Now to sneak up on them, if I can find them. Tippy toe. Okay, I lied. What I'm looking at here is just a little pond. Certainly not a lake by any means, so definitely not Fern Lake. That's what I get for not checking the map closer. But I just did check the map, and Fern Lake's like a stone throw away, so a few hundred feet or more, I'd say. Alright, now we got Fern Lake in view for real this time. It's just down in those trees there. There's the lake. Now I get to circle it looking for the boys. Alright, the sneaking up idea is probably not a good idea. On the other hand, I wonder if they're even here. I don't hear any voices. I don't see any sign of them, so I'm just gonna give a little holler. Hello? Devin! No response. Well, this is gonna be fun. I wonder if they're not here yet. I'm on the shores of the lake here. Found this nice little campsite here, and I'm the only one here, I think. I've been blowing my little jet whistle, trying to get a response, been hollering out, and no response from anybody. So either I beat them or they stood me up. I know I was watching the weather radar and there was a few showers that looked like it passed over the area here, but I don't think it would have been enough for them to delay them that much. So I don't remember where they were coming in from, but they shouldn't have had more than like 8 to 10, maybe 8-10 miles or so today, maybe less. So I'm really surprised they're not here yet, and I'm really starting to question if I'm going to see them tonight, because it's going on 9:30 and it's pretty much going dark now, or it's more or less dark. So a little bit of twilight left, and yeah, so I'm gonna get my tent up and I don't know, just guess solo it if I have to here and see if I can't cross paths with them tomorrow. Well, I just had dinner. I was finishing off the beef stroganoff that I took half of on a previous recent trip, and so just finished that second half of it off tonight, and it's quick and easy. And anyhow, yeah, it's like 11:30 at night now, and it's pretty windy out. And I just had the thought that when I was crossing over the outlet or the inlet to Lodgepole Lake, the trail kind of cut between Lodgepole Lake and another smaller lake next to it, a sister lake to it, and you know, there was a tarp and a tent set up right there, and it looked like whoever was camping there was probably taking a nap or whatever, because nobody was out and about around their stuff. And I'm wondering if that wasn't Devin and his friend Jared, which is shame on you guys if that was you, because A, you didn't hear me coming by and say something, and 2, why you guys camped so close to the trail and to the lake. But in all fairness, if that was them, I'm wondering if they came down to Fern Lake here and saw how wooded it was around it, and had a hard time finding a suitable place to camp, and must have missed the spot that I found here, and they may have just carried on up the trail and pulled over at that beautiful spot where Lodgepole Lake is, and maybe they only set up camp there as close as they did to the trail in hopes of seeing me come by. And if that was the deal, again, they missed me. I think they were napping or something, so we'll find out tomorrow. What my plan is now is just get to sleep and wake up about 5:30 in the morning, catch some sunrise shots out here if there's anything worth taking a picture of at the lake here, and then pack up and boogie on out. And you know, I'm just going to check in, see if those people that were camped over there was Devin and them or not, and Devin and Jared, and you know, they're about a mile and a half back, so I'll go check in and, you know, see if I can't catch them waking up or hang around the area, and as soon as I see someone come out, you know, I'll know right away if it's them or not. So yeah, we'll see if we can find them tomorrow and go from there. So good night. Here's a pretty shot of Fern Lake. 6 o'clock in the morning. So I'm about to pack up here in a minute and head up to back up to Lodgepole Lake there and see if the two people camped out up there weren't Devin and Jared there. So yeah, it's been a nice night. Wind wasn't too bad. It kind of calmed down through the night. Yeah, let's look around camp for a minute before I take it down. Alright, so there's my tarp tent. It's sagging a bit in the middle. I was pitching it in the dark and was kind of just being lazy with it. I knew I was going to be sheltered in the wind, so I didn't really bother to fix it. So yeah, anyhow, there's logs to sit on if you don't have your own chair. I liked this one last night. I put my sit pad on the log there, and then it has a nice little backrest. Someone set up there. So yeah, and a few sites for other tents here. You know, like if Devin and Jared were here, tent could have gone there. Another tent would have fit right in there. And even another tent over here. So I did experiment with something last night in an effort to go a little lighter weight and more compact with the gear I took on this trip. I used the Climate Inertia X frame that I've had for a long time now and haven't used it for quite a while. And yeah, it actually worked out well because what I did differently is use my sit pad just to add a little bit more cushion to my hips, and then I've got this my auto shade underneath there just to ensure a little extra insulation, and then under my feet I had my backpack. So, and surprisingly it worked out pretty well. I was certainly warm, and I was more comfortable than I was thinking I might be. So yeah, I may end up using this setup a few more times. I mean, it's not quite as comfortable as a traditional sleeping pad or air pad, but for the lightweight and ease of setup, as far as 3 breaths to fill this up, and then but more importantly, how quickly I can roll it up and deflate it. Maybe something I use in the next trip up in the Uintas that's coming up, which will be with Devin and Tim from from Tim Watson, his outdoor channel, and you know, his friends that are coming out from back east. All right, packed up. Time to boogie on out. Well, that's them, all right. Black Diamond. Don't know why I didn't notice that yesterday, but that's Devin's tent. And looks like a pariah outdoors tarp for Jared. Guess it's time to get even on them for standing me up down at Fern Lake. Hope I don't regret this. Alright, so just to be sure, I circled their camp. Saw their bear bag, or bear hanging up. It looks like a doggy bag, probably for Cooper. And look like some basin bags. They're Kiva outdoor basin bags. So now, do I sit and wait? Do I go ahead with plan A, just to rattle the tent. I'm gonna think about it for another minute. Devin! Devin, you in there?
What's up?
It's gonna rattle your tent, but I just said it'd be nice.
Oh, thanks.
Alright, so these sleepy heads finally woke up, getting their camp packed away, and that was them, alright. I was right last night. I laid down to bed and I'm like, yep, that had to be them.
Yeah. Whoops.
But Devin was saying Cooper's paw had an issue with it, so it's all bandaged up and
To see how he does walking out too.
yeah.
Hopefully we don't have to carry him. That'd be awful. That's good.
Cooper's gonna think twice about coming to the Uintas anymore.
Yeah.
So at least I made it here for breakfast with them.
Yeah,
We'll be able to hike out together anyways. Alright, look at that. After breakfast, we're hiking out together as planned. They had the more scenic campsite, but I had the warmer campsite, I think, so.
Yes, absolutely.
Said that wind was pretty atrocious, but at least where I was, it seemed to calm down as the night went on, but it's been picking up again this morning. Now we get to hike back up a nice climb out of here to get up to Grandaddy Lake.
Good way to start getting your legs warm.
Yeah. Back at Grandaddy Lake, and the wind is going crazy. Woo! That water is choppy. So here we are, cresting over Hades Pass here. It's too easy to call it Hayden Pass because Hayden Peak way out there is where that is, but this is a different kind of a pass for the Uintas. Most Uinta passes are treeless, and this one's got loads of trees on it.
It's kind of flat too.
Yeah, and it's pretty flat. Pretty flat before you go back down the other side of it. And probably find some nice spots to set up camp and still be somewhat sheltered from exposure from storms. But it's even a nice little tarn up here. Tarn.
Circuit the towers.
Circuit the towers, glaciers on the other side of that. Just have to hike around them.
So we just stopped for a snack break and descending Hades Pass now.
Holy wind.
What do we got? A couple miles left maybe?
2.5.
2.5 miles.
Quick 2.5.
Pretty much all downhill too. A nice, gentle downhill for the most part too. So be good on the legs and good on the lungs. Alright, so we're back on the trail after an 1.5 hour long break for Devin and Jared, that is. Why? Because guess what I forgot? I left my phone back at the spot where we took a brief break right at the edge of Grandaddy Lake, which was probably a good 2 miles back. It felt like more, but could have been a little more. But anyways, after that incident, I did find the phone, and all is well now. But I think I have my trail name figured out. If I was ever to thru-hike a long trail, it might be called Run Back, because that's the 3rd time I've had to run back to retrieve something I left behind. The first 2 times were my trekking poles and my sunglasses, both on the Highline, Uintas Highline Trail a couple years ago with some other friends. So I don't do that on my solo trips, but for whatever reason, I get with these groups and get distracted or something. I leave something down, and on we go, and back up the trail it is to find it. So anyways, I'm 3 for 3 for not losing things. So from now on, I'm gonna be more careful about checking my surroundings when I get up from a rest. So back at the trailhead here. Devin and Jared loading up in their car. I'm arriving at my car now. And I think, in the words of Syntax 77, it's cheeseburger time. I'm gonna drive on down to Heber City, stop at a Dairy King or whatever place it's called to have some burgers. So, good hike, good night out, despite not finding them till this morning. But hey, it was fun hiking out, and yeah, so that wraps up the hiking part. On to burgers.